My name is BB, and I'm going through today the Flink questions. So, in this first question from Apache Flink, and we are trying to set the experience to learn how to make the progress in data engineering. So, today I'm going to talk about what is Apache Flink and explain Apache Flink architecture, and, uh, and then next going for explain the Flink job execution architecture, and the next part is what is unbounded stream in Apache Flink. Next part would be what is a bounded stream in Apache Flink. Next would be like what is a data API, Apache Flink, and then we are going to talking about stream API in Apache Flink, then Flink table API, the Flink ML API, and then what is the difference between Hadoop, Apache Sparks, and Flink. So let's talk about this one. So Apache Software Foundation created Flink is open source, is unified stream processing for both batch framework as well as for real time. So mostly this one used for real time data computation. Apache Flink is built around a distributed streaming data flow engine written in Java and Scala. Flink runs every data flow programs and data parallel and piped in the function. So this is how functions. So Apache Flink architecture, if you see the architecture wise or how it is used. So this is the streaming layer, this is the service layer, and this is the source layer. So data injection, files and data source. So our source could be files, database, and the streaming IoT machines and logs, messaging, Kafka, Amazon Kinesis, Azure Event Hub, and applications like SAP and Salesforce and many API. And this is injection layer. So streaming layer, we get the raw data and then we process here the stream processing and cured and and then back to the streaming analytics, and it can be used event officer alerts, trigger business, self-service analytics, reports and dashboards, and so on. Okay, so Apache Flink is based on Kappa architecture. The Kappa architects use the single processor stream who accept all information as a stream, and then the streaming engine process data into real time. The batch data is a Kappa architect is a form of streaming data. So the majority of big data framework built on the Lambda architecture, which is different process from batch and streaming data. In the Lambda architecture, batch stream view is the different code base and code base combine in order to query to retrieve the results. Maintaining different code base view and combining them into hassle, but the Kappa architecture fixed the problem by having only one real-time view, which is eliminate need to code base merging. The core principle of Kappa architecture to manage batch and real-time via the single streaming process engine. Does not say the Kappa architecture is perfect and Lambda architecture is entirely independent. Use case and application will determine which architecture is optimal. So basically, this is the architecture. Like it's similar to Lambda, but Lambda the user query, batch and real time combined. But here is a different way. So the next part is explain the Apache Flink job execution architecture. So job is basically the client from where we compiler and optimize it happen in program. Then we submit program to it will go to the job manager. Job manager will what it will do. It will schedule resource management. It will check and the deploy task and send a status to task where the actual data will exchange. So the program it a piece of the code that execute on the Flink cluster, and client is the charge of taking code from given program and creating job data flow diagram, which is then passed to the job manager and also retrieve the job data. Job manager it represent for generating execution graph after obtaining job data flow graph to client. It assigns job task to the cluster monitor. Basically, it's like Flink. What it will create a different kind of data flow. So each data flow is a task. So task manager is a change the execution all the tasks assigned by the job manager. Both task manager execute tasks at the respective slots and specified parallelism. So we need to specify the number of parallelism and memory and everything when the job we will submit. So next part is there's a kind of real time. What is the unbounded stream? Unbounded as the name says, there is no boundary. Stream continues coming. You are aggregating and keep checking. So this any type of data produced in a stream is event. Data can be processed as unbounded and bounded. So any type of event is a stream, and a stream can process unbounded and bounded. Unbounded stream have beginning but no end, so it's keep running, but no end and continue to provide the data to provider. Unbounded streams should be processed continuously. That events should be handled as soon as they consume. Since the input is unbounded, it will not complete at any point of time. It's not possible to wait for the data to arrive. So bounded means fixed, and bound means not fixed, like stream is continuous. Processing unbounded data sometimes require that event are consuming in a specific order, such as order in which the event arrive, able to result into. So what is the bounded? So bounded is like fixed set of stream or fixed set of data. After that will come like mini batch. So bounded stream have beginning and endpoint. Bounding stream could be processed by consuming data before doing computation. Order injection is not needed to process bounding stream to since the bounded data set to always sorted. Processing of bounded stream is also called a batch processing. So it's a mini batch kind of thing. So usually we do this kind of processing in my organization. Next part is a table API. It's similar to Spark. They also have table API. So what is a dataset API? Dataset API in Apache Flink. Apache Flink dataset API is used for batch operation of data over time. This API is available in Java, Scala, and Python. It may perform various transformation and datasets such as filtering, mapping, aggregation, joining, grouping. So this is the dataset API. Datasets, and it create tuple, string and integer, word count, text, and then we use flat and group by. So this is similar to Spark if you know the Spark. Then now the next part is DataStream API. So this one is first will datasets and DataStream. So stream, Apache Flink DataStream API used for handle data in a continuous stream. This is a stream means it's a continuous stream means real-time data. For stream data, you can perform operations such as filtering, routing, windowing, aggregation. The data stream, there is a different source such as a message queue, file, socket stream, and resulting data can be written into different sink. Sink means the target where you want to write, such as a command line terminal API. So this is stream is coming, then we reading from sockets, then we doing flat map, then sorting, then time of window every 7 seconds, and it's give the result. Next part is what is Apache Flink table API. So DataStream API, table API. Table API is related to API which expression language similar to SQL. This API is capable for batch and streaming processing. It's compatible with the Java and Scala datasets and DataStream API. Table can be generated from internal datasets or data stream as well as from the external data source. You can also use the relational API to perform the operations such as join, select, aggregation, filter, all the SQL kind of command we can use in the Flink. So the code is here. Table environment.get environment, and the next part is I'm talking about what is a Flink ML. So Flink also have ML engine. This is ML for machine learning library. It's a new initiative to the Flink community with the expanding of list of algorithm and contributor. Flink ML aims to include scalable ML algorithm, easy to use API tool to help reduce the glue code and end-to-end ML system. So now the next is very, very important. What is different between Apache Hadoop, Apache Spark, and Apache Flink? So basically the Apache Hadoop is for the map reducing or those processing, and Flink is basically used for real time and for the single running, both streaming and batch processing. So let's go to the differences here. I'm going here. So data processing Hadoop, Apache Hadoop built for batch processing. Spark come with the batch processing and real time, but mostly Spark for batch and Flink mostly for real time. It can perform batch also. So the data processing wise, we can use for real time Spark and Flink, and Hadoop is only for batch. Streaming engine. Hadoop doesn't have a streaming engine. In a Hadoop, MapReduce is a batch processing tool. It takes the used dataset as input and processes it and output result in one by one. Output result all at once. Sorry. Data stream processed into microbatch through the Apache Spark streaming. Apache Flink real streaming and stream used for workloads such as streaming SQL, microbatch, and batch. And batch is limited collection of stream result. Next is performance. Apache Hadoop performance is slower when compared to Spark and Flink because only support for batch processing, not real. Apache Spark stream processing is less effective than Apache Flink. It's used micro batch processing. Apache Flink performed excellent as compared to Hadoop and Spark. Memory management, disk-based configuration, JVM managed configuration, since Spark 1.0 supports automatic memory. Active manage, automatically memory management, on memory management system separate from JVM. So this supports both. Then the fault tolerance, MapReduce extremely fault tolerant. In the case of Hadoop failure, there is no need to restart. Apache Spark restore the lost work without need to additional code configuration. Apache Flink based is a Candy Lamport distribution snapshot. Candy. So it's a lightweight, allowing to high throughput rates while still providing good accuracy and guarantee. So it's a Candy Lamport distribution snapshots. We need to remember. SQL support, Hive and Lambda, Spark SQL, Table API, and SQL. Machine learning, Hadoop doesn't support. Apache Spark is very good. Flink is also coming to the programming. All the language mostly support Java, Scala, and SQL. So next part, also the network is a kind of questions which will give you the very details, and you guys please watch like my channels. So there are various questions. I directly go to the all questions you can go to. So here again, see your Flink briefly introduced. Flink is a real-time computing framework. It's Spark and Spark are both the streaming and integrated computing framework. Flink provides you bounded stream and bounded stream calculation. Bounded stream actually fact that Flink consider data as a streaming for the most of case. Batches are in a small part of the situation, that is a data that has the boundary called the bounded flow. Data without boundary is called the unbounded flow, which data generate to infinity in real time. The main external API Flink is Datasets API, DataStream API, Table API, Graph Computing, Machine Learning. It provides the two languages, Java, Scala, and Python. What is different between Flink and Spark streaming, as we already said, but let me go again. Design idea is a different. Flink consider batch. The Flink consider batch to be the kind of streaming. Spark consider stream to be the batch. The architecture module is different. Spark has a driver, master, worker, and executor. So Spark has a driver, Spark has a master, Spark has a worker, Spark has an executor. Okay, the Flink has task manager, job manager, and task subtask. So it's similar, but they have driver, master, they have task and job. They have worker, this is task and subtask and slots. Flink streaming process is much stronger than Spark. For example, it supports the 3 kind of time, 3 more the window than Spark. In case of out of order data, Flink is stronger than Spark because Flink has a watermark. In fact, the calculation method when running in the time of the last data, if the watermark is greater than to end of the window, is execute. So fault tolerance, Flink also better than Spark. For example, Flink support 2 stages of transaction, ensure that data after program crash will not be reconsumed. Spark also has a checkpoint, but it's only ensure that data is not lost. It cannot repeat it and consume. So duplicate data is Flink also removed. So Flink, the component stacks. So Flink is a local mode, cluster mode, and cloud mode, and then perform the basic service like runtime component. The upper layer provides the DataStream API, data API. The high level there is a table API, CAP complex family care, ML machines, and all this. Does Flink need to deploy in the Hadoop? Flink can be completely independent of Hadoop or run without relying on the Hadoop component, but it has a basic big data. It's a convenience that most of big data work cannot be bypassed. Flink support many components such as yarn, resource scheduling, H-based real-time data storage, and dimension table access, and HDFS storage offline computing also. How big is your Flink cluster? It can be done according to the situation in your company. Most of most of companies use the yarn modes to deployment. Of course, yarn has also multiple modes and deployment, such as single job, directly apply for the large amount of success of yarn. What is the Flink programming mode? So Flink is like source, transformation and sync. Source could be like Kafka, and it can be TT, it can be file system, it can be anything. And transformation where we apply ETL. Sync is the target like HBase, MySQL, anything. What are roles in Flink cluster? What is the function? So the Flink has mainly 3 roles: task manager, job manager, and client. Tasks and job, client. They are running. Job manager in the role of managing the cluster. It is the coordinate to entire cluster. It's responsible receiving execution Flink job, coordinating checkpoints, the recovery frame failure, managing task manager. Task manager is responsible for resource information on the node where the manager are located, such as memory, disk, network. It will reports to the resource job manager when it's started. Client, it has a client submit by Flink program. When user is submit the Flink program, client is first created, then the program submitted by user, it will be processed and submitted. What is task slot? In the Flink architecture, task manager is a working node that actually used for execute program. Task manager is a JVM process. In fact, in order to achieve the concept of resource isolation and parallel execution, concept of task slot was proposed this time, which is actually order control in many tasks in the task manager in the receive. What are the commonly used operation in Flink? So map operation, Flink operate key by operator window. So mostly I use window function and the SQL. What is the parallelism Flink and what the parallelism is setting the Flink? In fact, parallelism Flink is well understood. For example, Kafka source is a parallelism in the number of partition by default. The degree of parallelism in the operation, how many tasks salt needed. You should know that advantage of parallelism computing, generally the degree of parallelism is set according to amount of data. It is the best keep the source map operator without the suffer, because pressure on the source and the map operator not very large, but when your data is stable is widened, it is better to stronger. So basically parallelism is like number of parallelism in your Kafka, same you can put into Flink source, and in the middle of the task manager you can set, usually I keep the 8, but depend upon the data volume you can set. What is the relationship between Flink salt and parallelism? Salt concept in task manager, parallelism is the concept of program, that concept of execution level. In fact, salt is specifically how many slots this task manager has and how much parallelism can be supported, but parallelism developed by program unless slots. What is the Flink encounter abnormal restart program? Flink has some restart strategy. As long as the checkpoint is done, it can be done at least once. Of course, it may not be accurate once, but same component can be done. The restart strategy generally it's a set of fixed delay. Restart strategy. The restart does not delete the checkpoint. Generally, the number of restart set by your company is 4 times. If they stop, it will be sent a warning to start from the checkpoint when it starts. Flink distributed cache. Distributed cache implemented by Flink is similar to Hadoop. The purpose of read files locally and put into the task manager nodes to prevent tasks from repeatedly pulling data from reduce performance. Broadcast variable in Flink, we know the Flink is parallelism and calculation process may not be performed in the slots. Then there is a situation when we need to access the same data, then the broadcast variable in Flink to solve this situation. We can understand this broadcast variable in the public set variable. We can also broadcast data sets and different tasks can be obtained through node. There will be only one copy of this data each node. Do you know what is a window? So Flink support 2 way of divide window according to time and count. Session is also kind of time tumbling counter window. Perform calculation when reaching certain numbers. No folding sliding time window. When certain period of time reach or rollover, there will be the overlap generally used to calculate recent demand, such as nearly 5 minutes. Tumbling time window, when the certain period of time reach, slide carried out, which can be through to the Nokia slide phones used before. This is actually microbyte sliding count window. Slide when it reaches a certain number of session window. Window data has fixed size. It's desired according to parameter passed in the user, and window does not overlap. It's similar to calculation user previous action when it's the user logout. Flink state storage. Flink often need to store the intermediate state calculation to avoid data loss recovered from abnormal states. Choosing the different state of storage strategy will affect the state interaction between job manager and subtask. Job manager will interact with the states stored to state. Flink provide three state of storage. Okay, memory state backend, FS state backend, ROX DB backend. So three state memory states, FS file system, and ROX DB states. Okay. So I'm going to this one. So this is very important. So we use the ROX DB, like I said. What kind of time there is a Flink? What kind of time are you there in Flink? Event time. The event time is there in the Flink. So the time when the event is actually occurred in the intake time, and then intake time is time when the Flink process time, the time the enter of Flink operator. What is watermark in Flink? Watermark is the operation used by Flink to deal with the out of order time. So in fact, Flink, if you use event time and take Kafka source, then the window execution time at the time of the smaller amount of partition are used for triggering. Each partition must have a trigger to perform calculation. Why this? In fact, because the partition of Kafka are the disorder order in John, the execution time is the maximum time minute to watermark window end time. The calculation will be executed at the time. What is the unbounded stream in Apache? Any type of data produced in a stream event. Data can be processed as unbounded and bounded stream. Unbounded stream have beginning but no end. If they don't end in a continuous provided as that proceeds. Unbounded stream should be processed continuously. That event should be handled soon as they consume. Since the input is unbounded and it will not be complete at any point of time, it's not possible to wait for all the time. Apache Flink job execution architecture. Processing unbounded data sometimes require that events are consuming in the specific order, such as order in which event arrive, to able to reason to result is completeness. What is bounded stream means is the fixed, as name suggests, bounded means is the fixed input fixed time. So bounded stream have beginning and end. Bounded stream could be processed by consuming the data before doing any computation. Order injection is not needed to process handle. What is a data API? So this is the Apache Flink Datasets API is used for do the batch operation on data over the time. This API is available in Java, Scala, Python. It may perform the various transformation datasets such as filter, mapping, aggregation. So it's basically used for batch operation to data over time. DataStream, it's due for real-time operation over the time. Table is to connect the tables and do the SQL. So Flink ML for ML processing. What is Apache? Apache Flink software architecture, as I told before, They have task manager. They have Flink use the common runtime data streaming application for batch processing engine. It can be both batch and real time. It provides API. It's a lightning fast speed. It can process data in low latency. It can easily integrate with the big data tools like Apache Hadoop, Apache MapReduce, etc. It's a highly scalable. It can act at fault tolerant. What is a storage streaming Apache? So they use the Flink compose various capacity framework. It can devote the information from the guessing from framework. The following, it can use different like source and sync. What is the dataset API? We go. What are the DSL tool in the Flink? There are three type of DSL tool. It's implemented in datasets and data streaming API as it helps to performing in which utilizing SQL architecture language. Three types. So there are some domain specifically, so you can go through these things. What is the programming model? As I said, it can use Python, it can use Scala, it can use Java, it can use SQL. What is different type of tools supported in Apache Flink? So we use DataFin, but there is a CLI command line interface also. Apache Flink is provide more feature flexibility compared to Hadoop because it uses the cycle data flow programming desired to MapReduce, which two-stage disk storage model. Flink program can work memory and it can be used for other file system apart from Hadoop. Flink provide the unified framework using that can be create single data flow that will use for batch and streaming, machine learning, and SQL queries. What are the use cases of Apache Flink? Is use case of many. It can use for real world, it can use financial service, it can use health service, attack, oil, gas. What is different way to use Apache Flink? What is different components, as I said. So guys, please watch and subscribe my channel. Thank you.